We just want to talk briefly about why we're leaving Sykes. Um, Rather than just leave and not pass on the information, we want to record our reasons for doing this, so possibly it will help Sykes address the issues that we feel are important. Just a bit of background. We have a small terrace cottage, which is in a town in Derbyshire. We have it as a property investment rather than as an income source. We are looking to protect some capital in terms of the building, and we want to keep the building in good shape. We've decided to let it as a holiday home. We're not looking for a massive income from that, but we are looking for a return. We let the property as a holiday home 365 days a year, so it's treated as a business by the council and by the tax people. It's located fairly close to the centre of a town. It's on the edge of a busy road, and it's definitely not a cosy cottage. It's something that you can retire to at the end of the day when there's been a major expedition of some sort around this beautiful Derbyshire countryside. We've been with Sykes since about 2014. So why are we leaving Sykes? Well, after several years of rental, essentially we're not seeing any profit, and we effectively subsidise guests. We found that the guests provided by Sykes are increasingly effectively poor quality. They moan a lot. They expect too much for their money, considering that we're not a premium, absolute top-end holiday home. And for the slightest problem, they complain. When those guests complain, normally in the shape of reviews, and not directly to us, those reviews goes to Sykes, and we see very poor backup from Sykes in terms of challenging those reviews. It's not what we expect in an agent situation. It seems as though everything is on the side of the clients and very little is on the side of the owners, and it's got progressively worse over the years. We've also had Sykes advertise our holiday home on multiple sites, such as booking.com and other ones, and this leads to all sorts of problems, and it's led to a reduction in the quality of the service that the guests receive, because we get incomplete information, there's booking problems, and we're just not happy with it. We've also found that Sykes are increasingly introduce new demands on service as to what should be provided, without actually any thought of how those new changes to the service are actually funded. There's no increase in rental. It just falls on the shoulders of the owners. And I'm afraid Sykes are behaving more like a franchise company rather than an agency. So we're not happy on that side of things. And we've seen Sykes tinkering with the contract. And there seems to be an awful lot of changes to these contracts which are in the air. So again, that's something which is upsetting us. It's not the main point, but it's an important point. How come we don't have a profit? Well, essentially, Sykes don't charge enough for the holidays. We run accounts as a business using Xero.com, so we track absolutely every transaction in terms of income and in terms of expenditure. We record it to the VAT business level quality. We know exactly what we're spending, we're exactly what we're receiving as well. Amongst those costs, we don't charge for our time. And we reckon we put in something like 60 man days a year into the cottage, supporting the guests, doing maintenance and those type of things. We don't get paid for that. There's not many other businesses where you'd be happy giving 2 or 3 months worth of work free of charge, expecting no return. So the income we receive via Sykes doesn't cover that. We don't charge any notional interest on the capital invested in the property. It's over £120,000 we've invested, and we don't make any charge for the interest that would be due on that amount of money. So when we work out the costs for Sykes, it's essentially maintenance, running costs, and all those type of things. So after 7 years, we've not made break even between cost and income. The cottage rental charged by Sykes is about 50% of the level of nearby Premier Inns. In Premier Inn, you'll get one room and a separate shared breakfast facility. In our cottage, you get a lounge, you get a good kitchen, well equipped, with utilities. We throw in the internet free. We get a bedroom, we get a good shower, we get a garden. We provide a lot more and get less than the local Premier Inn. And Sykes seem to be insensitive to that type of thing. And to make matters worse, Sykes also discount the fees without any real consultation on us. What about the contract term changes? Well, we were alerted to this after a lot of discussion in social media, Facebook and things like that. So we decided to look at it a little bit more closely. We have a copy of the original contract terms that we agreed to, or when we entered into the agreement with Sykes. Since then, the contract seems to have changed an awful lot, and there seem to be too many one-sided, in Sykes' favour, changes to the contract, which I can imagine Sykes could easily force upon us if they wanted to. So let's have a look to see what this looks like. Okay, this is the Sykes Cottage contract, which we had a look at. We've kept the detail relatively obscured because it could be confidential. But if you can see the parts which we've highlighted in yellow, you can see the scope of what we've actually had to deal with in terms of changes that we think were not in the original contract. Some of these changes are quite substantial. And so there's an awful lot which has been added into the contract, which we think has not been properly discussed with the owners. Sure enough, our actual terms and conditions are on the old original contract, supposedly, but it's an uncertain situation. Our conclusion. Sykes has fundamentally changed. We haven't. The owner-agent relationship has broken down. It has a feel of a franchise now rather than an agent deal, where the agent is providing bookings of good quality people. They seem to want to impose all sorts of rules now as to the way the thing should be run, how it should appear, and they're just dumping costs on us. We're not happy with that. The agent is supposed to make life easier for the owner. Sykes, you don't do that. And we feel it's going to get worse.